Good evening and welcome to the Town of Dayton Board of Selectmen's regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, April 26, 2023, and it's 6 o'clock p.m. This is a hybrid meeting via Zoom and in person at Old Town Hall, 1111 Somerset Avenue. This is a joint Zoom meeting. Meeting ID code is 844-8440-0737. And it has a passcode to get in at 732390. The phone number is 309-205-3325. Public input may be provided using the following methods. Contact our office at Board of Selectmen at dayton-ma.gov to provide input prior to the meeting. I'll read that again because it was messed up. Board of Selectmen at dayton/ma.gov to provide input prior to the meeting. Be via Zoom, call in by phone, see the above information, or continually played on Channel 9 and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/Town of Dayton. This meeting is being recorded. The listing of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. We're going to call to order.
Leonard Hall is present.
Nicole Mello is present.
And Peter Karen is present. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to go into executive session under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation if an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and the chair does declare. Right now, we just take a vote to go into executive session?
You do have to read the name of the litigation, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ellis S. Waldman and Andrew Gates as trustees of DI Trust 2, Plaintiffs versus Town of Dayton Planning Board of Defendants. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A/2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. A, the fire chief. We will be returning to open session approximately 6:30.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Aye.
And Peter Karen is an aye. Guys, we're going to start if everybody is ready. I know we are, Mike, Karen?
Yes.
All set? We just returned from executive session, and we'd like everybody to stand, please, for a moment of silent meditation. We lost a few of our residents this week, and we'd like to pay homage to them.
Since our last meeting, 3 Dayton residents have passed. John Paul Masciarelli, 80 years of age, passed away on Saturday, April 15th. He taught in the Dayton Public School System for 38 years. He was a graduate of Boston University and was the husband to Norma for 58 years, and also survived by a daughter, Cynthia, and sons, Stephen and Michael. Also passing on April 19th, 2023, was David Paul Phillips, born in Dayton, son of the late Daniel Alexandria Pereira Phillips. Phil graduated from Dayton High School class of 1955. He then joined the United States Army and served his country proudly for 6 years. He was also a member of the 1954 Dayton High School Class D State Championship football team. And also passing, Rich Richard Thomas Nunes, age 79, a longtime resident of North Dayton, passed away peacefully with his wife and daughters at his side at Brigham and Women's Hospital on April 14, 2023. He was the beloved husband of Jean Rogers Nunes, with whom he shared 58 years of marriage. Our thoughts and condolences go out to their families at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First scheduled hearing tonight is for a poll hearing, number 307-44230. Petition for joint and identical poll locations on Muddy Cove Lane and Pleasant Street. You gotta make a motion to open this?
I will make a motion to open the public hearing, number 307-44230, for the petition for a joint or identical poll location at Muddy Cove Lane and Pleasant Street.
I'll second that.
And all those in favor? Mr. Hall?
Aye?
Aye.
And Peter Karen is an aye. Is anybody here from,
I think we do have Aaron Roy representing National Grid. Is that correct, Mr. Roy?
That is correct.
Okay.
Can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Would
Yeah,
you be
so,
able to give us a quick overview?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
For this petition hearing, this is due to the Pleasant Street at Muddy Cove Bridge being replaced, re-engineered and replaced. They reached out to us to see if we can replace and relocate pole for them due to the new construction of the bridge. This is pole 60 Pleasant Street. We'll be moving the pole approximately 35 feet to the north due to their plans and the reconstruction of the bridge. Where the pole stands now, it's going to be in the way. So for this, we'd like to relocate the pole about 35 to 40 feet north of the existing location. For the Muddy Cove Lane pole, Muddy Cove Lane is fed from the pole that's going to be relocated currently. So we want to propose to install a pole on Muddy Cove and feed it off of County Street and remove the wire going from pole 68 to Muddy Cove right now. So just a little overview. Any questions?
I have no questions. Mr. Hall, do you have any questions?
Actually, the only question I have, Mr. Mullen, have you received any correspondence with concerns from the neighbors? Are the neighbors aware of this move?
Yes, they have. Yes, like all the abutters have received green cards as well to a certified mail, and we have not received any feedback, positive or negative. As Aaron mentioned, this does relate directly to the proposed work to reconstruct the Pleasant Street Bridge over Muddy Cove. Everything here is in line with that, Mr. Hall.
Oh, thank you.
Nicole, do you have any?
No, I don't have any questions.
Do we need to vote to approve this request?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a
Chairman?
motion?
Karen, I will make a motion to approve the petition for a joint or identical pole location on Muddy Cove and Pleasant Street as presented this evening.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Peter Karen is an aye.
Thank you.
What's that? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Roy.
Next case is a junk deals license hearing. Do we have a motion to open this case?
With just a small technicality, the board does have to vote to close the prior hearing
Prior hearing.
and then reopen.
All right,
but then
motion to
open this
close the hearing on the poll.
I'll motion to close the poll hearing. Do I need to say the whole thing?
No.
or-
No.
Okay.
Uh,
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Peter Karen is an aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to open the junk dealer's license hearing for resident Joseph Fazzato, 180 Cobb's Lane, Dayton, Mass.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Hear any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
And Peter Karen is an aye. Who's speaking on this behalf? You want to come up and give your name and your address to, at the podium, please? Just before you start, I just want to let everybody know that tonight, because of the issues at hand, the issue at hand, is we're going to only allow 5 minutes to speak at the podium. And we're going to be pretty strict to that. So if you don't mind keeping your arguments simple, and don't repeat yourself over and over again just to make your point, because you'll be using up a lot of your time. I also expect there to be some decorum here tonight. I know this issue goes way back, and there's a lot of feelings out here, and we understand the sensitivity to everybody, but it doesn't give anybody the right to not treat everybody else with respect. So yes, sir, whenever you're ready.
Pardon? I can't hear you.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, my name is Joseph Fazzato. I got a cleaning service license. I've had it for 40 years. And I was dealing with a lot of pulling out fuel tanks for Scott Sylvia. And when I get done, I charge them to pull them out of the cellars. And when I bring them home, I put them in the garage. I cut them in half, I clean them, all spick and span, and I give all the waste oil to the highway department, Tommy, and if he's closed during the week, I give it to Bobby BP Transmission in Somerset. And then I've been in this town for 55 years, and I donate a lot to the Lions Club and everything of my business. I gave all the steel rods for the horseshoe pits and all the lettering for the Lions Club on the signs, and I donate a lot from my business to the town of Dayton. And I worked for the town for 15 years, the landfill, and then I worked for the highway department for 3 years, and then I went in my own business, Joseph Fazzato's Cleaning Service. And I clean out houses, banks. Like I was supposed to clean out the hall the town just got, and I refused it because I didn't want to get involved, so the town took everything. I didn't want to touch nothing. So the town got everything out of there, stove, microwaves, tables, and everything. I went over there and looked at it, and I said, no, I don't want to touch it because it didn't belong to me, and it belonged to the taxpayers. So I didn't want to touch it. And that's about it. I mean,
So you have a junk dealer's license that you're applying for. So how is that different from a cleaning service?
I pick up wash machines, microwaves, dryers, refrigerators. When I clean out a house, say if I clean out a house like the Grange Hall, if I was going to clean that out, there was a lot of metal tables, there was a stove, there was microwaves, all that.
Sure.
All that's got to come out with it.
Right.
You just can't take stuff and leave the rest.
Right.
You know?
What do you do with that stuff when you take it out?
I bring it all to the salvage yards. Excel in Freetown, Enos Metals, SMU in Seekonk.
So it's not stored on your property at all?
When I got a load, I take it in.
When you have a load, so you empty out the Grange, let's say.
Yeah.
And those items go right to the salvage yard, or do they?
Well,
do they
I usually
somewhere?
I usually donate it to people that wants it.
Donate it? Okay.
Yeah. Like there was a lot of tables there, chairs and everything, and there was a lot of metal, a lot of dishes and stuff like that. But I didn't want to touch it because
Sure.
the town took it.
Yeah.
It wasn't mine. It was a
Right,
taxpayer
I
stuff.
understand that. Great, thank you for doing
Yeah.
that. Now, the stuff, let's assume that you don't have a full truckload, so some of it's going to be stored in your yard,
Well,
correct?
not in my yard, no. I got a garage that I put it in.
It all goes in the garage?
Yeah,
So-
not all of it.
Okay,
See, like, if I got stuff that's good and stuff, I put it undercover. I got 3 garages,
yep,
all right? I got one 22 by 22, I got another garage 20 by 50, and I got another garage 20 by 50. And I deal with antique cars. So I had 5 or 6 of them. I used to build them, but now I don't do it no more because I'm up there in age.
sure,
So I got a 32 Model A and a 56 Ford Victoria left.
okay,
And that's about it.
yep. And the license that you're applying for, I guess, back to my original question, how is it different than your cleaning service?
Metal. I got a complaint from a neighbor because I make too much noise,
Okay,
see? And when if I cut up a tank, right, I don't take them no more because I don't want to get involved in it. And I don't want no problems with the town unless I get a license. And matter of fact, the selectman went go see my property a couple of days ago. The building inspector came and looked at my property a couple of days ago. They couldn't believe it, how clean it was.
okay, just to back up for a second, the selectman went to your property?
Yep.
With the selectman?
I don't know their names. One was named Bob.
Okay, just a slight confusion. Okay, no problem. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, they inspected my property, and they gave me comments. They said, I don't believe this. The place was beautiful. I opened up my garage. I had them look in it. No hazardous waste, nothing. One garage has got a backhoe. The other garage has got a Roadster. And the other garage has got a 56 Ford. And the garage that I work from, right, it's got the backhoe. And I separate the metal in the garage, like copper, brass, aluminum.
Sure,
All right, and I separate it in the garage. When I got a load worthwhile for me to take it in, I don't stockpile it. I take it in when I get a load.
so you empty out the Grange, I know you didn't, but let's say you empty out the Grange, I guess I'm a little confused. You don't take the stuff right to the people you're going to sell it to. It gets stored in your garage at your house.
Yeah.
Okay. And about how long is that stored there for?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
I bring a load in. Say if I got a totes 4x4 plastic. If it's full aluminum, if it's worth $100, I take it in. Once it's even if it's half full, if I need a couple of bucks for groceries, I take it in. All right? That's what I do. That's my living.
Okay,
And I only get $700 a month retirement.
sure.
You can't live with that. So.
And what kind of noise does this generate? I know you were saying something about cutting oil barrels.
I was picking up oil drums. I ain't
Okay.
picked up none in the last couple of months because of all this. This neighbor, Wayne LePage, he's been harassing me for years. All right? He's complaining 9 o'clock in the morning and making noise. The cops go down there 9 o'clock, a weekday yet. I'm in the garage with the doors all closed. I says, what? Again? He says, yeah, LePage is complaining you're making too much noise. So I told him, listen, look around, help yourself. He says, I don't see nothing wrong. I says, it's a weekday, it's a work day. So, I mean, and furthermore, I got a license for cleaning service. I work 7 days a week, all right? I got contracts with FedEx all over Massachusetts. Needham, Braintree, Chinatown, Rainham, 103 in Seekonk. I got all their accounts.
Okay,
And it's just metal only.
sure.
So, I mean,
Okay.
I'm
So
not
I
breaking
understand
no
what you do
laws.
with the metal, and I understand what you do with the fuel. But you're not,
I give it to the highway department,
sure, I understand that.
and I give it to BP. He's got a license in Somerset, hazardous.
Great.
Huh?
So that's great,
Yeah, and they burn it.
sure.
And I store it in the garages. The barrels I fill up is outside. They're empty. There's no smell, no nothing.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you that. What kind of smell is generated from your property?
Nothing.
When you're dealing with oil or cutting metal?
Nothing.
Other than the noise? There's no
That's it.
smell
9
coming from
o'clock
your
in the
property?
morning, I'm working.
Yep,
You got to cut the tanks with sawzalls. All right, and then I cut it. I clean it. I clean it all out. The sludge with Speedy Dry, and then what I do is, if I got a tank, I cut in half. That's 2 tanks, When I clean it, I put it out front, I fill them up with metal, and I take them in.
Okay.
And that's it. You don't see it no more until the next one comes.
And the chemicals that you use for cleaning, are they biohazard at all?
No, I don't use chemicals.
Okay.
You mean my business?
You just said that you clean the
Speedy Dry.
Speedy Dry?
The tanks.
Yep.
Yeah, Speedy Dry, that's
So
it.
nothing is seeping into the ground? The
No,
oil
no,
doesn't spill?
nothing goes in the ground.
Okay.
I cut them in the garage.
Yep.
There's no ground there, it's all cement,
Sure.
so.
Okay.
And I keep plenty of Speedy Dry, right? And there's no hazardous waste, there's no gasoline, there's nothing. Okay, and that's it.
And how about the trucks? What kind of noise do they make?
Nothing, they're both
Nothing?
brand new.
Okay.
Toyotas, Thunders.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Hull, do you have any questions? Yeah.
The only, for Mr. Pizzato, no. My
Okay.
question in general is going to be, as was the case of the poll, if there were any concerns by the neighbors.
Right, okay. You want to hold up on that? Okay. Nicole, do you have anything right now?
No.
that you want to ask? Okay. All right, thank you. We'll probably call you back up in a minute, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to be heard for this case? Sure, come on up, just give your name and your address.
Wayne LePage, 176 Cobb Lane, Dayton.
Yep,
So, Mr. Frazado made some mistakes. He hasn't been in town 55 years, he's only been here for like 48 years. 'Cause
Okay.
I moved in 6 months after he did. I've been in my house for 48 years, so to correct that. As far as him cutting the tanks inside of a storage building, he never does it inside, he always does it outside. The problem I've always had is when he's cutting the tanks open, he says he cleans it with that dry stuff or whatever, but I know it goes on the ground because I've smelled the oil many times, okay? He's not a responsible person when it comes to caring about the environment, to say the least. Let's see. Okay. The thing, now, I just learned something today which was very interesting. I went to the assessor's office, and I was going to ask you folks if you knew, but I figured I'd check it out myself. Now, Mr. Frazado does not have a license for scrapping metal. He has a license for, I don't even think he even has that because the assessors have no license at all on record. Also, in the years he's been in business, he's never paid commercial property tax on his property. So I don't understand how he can have a business for that many years and not pay commercial taxes, unless you folks know.
I don't know.
Okay, but the assessor said he only pays for homeowners
Okay.
tax, all right? Because he does have an apartment there too. That was formerly a mother-in-law's apartment. So he doesn't pay any commercial real estate taxes, which he should be doing, I think.
I'm not sure of the law, but we will certainly find out.
Yeah, because when I had my business, Serendipity Flower Shop,
Yeah.
we were always registered with the town. We always had personal property tax. They come in and inspect everything, take care of all that. We pay all those things, you know? We're a legitimate registered business where he is not.
Okay.
The other things are, he has all these buildings outside. Now, as far as I know, he never had a permit for any one of them. Now, I don't know how he got away with it. I'd call and complain. It would still go up. And they're too close to everybody's boundaries, too. I mean, the place is a real mess. I mean, everybody says, oh, it's clean and this and that. It's just not. He's cleaned it up recently. But up till a week or two ago, he was still cutting up oil tanks, okay? No matter what he says. So he was still doing that. And the big thing is, I took Mr. Frazado to court about maybe 20 years ago. It was about, he wanted to have the junkyard. He wanted to have the business there. So I spent thousands of dollars for an attorney. We had it, the boundary set up where the business line was, how far it came down Cobb Lane. He only has 6 foot in the business zone. That's all he has is 6 feet. My lawyer said to me at the time, he said, well, at 6 feet, he can't do anything. I said, if you give him 6 feet, you'll give him a mile, which he did. The whole place is now a junkyard, and it has been a functioning junkyard. This business is about cleaning out properties, he does do that. But the big problem is when he brings in the junk cars, cuts up junk cars, junk boats, fiberglass. I mean, I've witnessed all of it, and we've heard all of it. My wife's a very sick lady, and it's very disturbing to my family that he does all this stuff early in the morning, and every day he's got to start his truck up early in the morning. How much time do I have left?
Oh, you keep going. It's okay.
Okay,
I'll
because
let
I
you
don't
know.
want to, I don't want to run out of time. I got a lot to say. But just to disturb us. You know, it's right near our bedroom window. He knows where because he used to work at my house at one time when we were friends. So that's always disturbing to us too. He's burned wire on his property several times. I've called the chief about that, reported that. They told him not to do it again. He's still done it, you know?
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. Burn wire?
Burn wire,
Okay.
you know, like
Yep.
scrap wire and stuff like
Sure.
that, and the fumes from that,
Right.
it's toxic.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, the big thing that happened several years ago was Mr. Frasato has a felony charge against him for threatening to shoot me. So that's another reason I'm a little nervous about Mr. Frasato, and I have been watching him for quite a while. He was charged with threatening my life, and he does have a felony charge against him. That is on record. So that's another reason I'm a little fearful of Mr. Frasato. Let's see. Okay, he also filled his property without a permit, raised it above ground level. So now I have a flooding problem in my yard all the time. My basement has water problems. I had to put a sump pump in because it's so much higher. I mean, he jacked everything up. And then just recently, before he was inspected, what he did was he had oil all over the ground. You could smell it. And he brought in more fill, like crushed bank, to cover everything up to make it look nice and neat. But everything is underneath there. So what I'm proposing is he should actually have a 21E environmental study done, which is a boring to see get samples out of the ground, because there's a lot of contamination there. My well is not that far away. I double filter all my water, drinking water. Sometimes we drink bottled water too. But who knows what else he's had over there. This business with the oil tanks is the worst yet, but he has other people that drop off tanks. I don't know what's in them. So he's not responsible for the environment. That's a big problem. He also has a septic system that's failing, that runs over my driveway and down Cobb Lane. That's every time it rains, it's flowing out. He has a pile of fill on top of that now to cover up the leak. So he makes it look like it's using it for fill and things like that, but he's actually covering up a problem with his septic system. And I'm constantly being harassed by him, but that's something else. I can live with that, you know? Because the junkyard to another person. Oh yeah, and if he does get a junkyard permit, would that be transferable to the next occupant of that property? That's what I'm mainly concerned about, is the junkyard, because it's a detriment to the neighborhood. It's toxic. It's a noisy. There's a lot of people saying he doesn't make any noise, but that's fine. You know, I mean, I'm the closest house. I really am the closest house. I mean, I'm 35, 40 feet away from the junkyard. So I'm concerned about the transfer of the junkyard license to another, if he ever
Sure.
sold and that type of
Right,
thing.
he sold his business.
Exactly, you know, and this idea of a pre-existing business for 30 years is really not true, but from what he's been doing. I mean, he has been cleaning out properties and buildings and stuff like that, but he also has been cutting up cars and boats and trailers. I mean, even big campers. He cuts them up, scraps aluminum out of them, and all the fiberglass and everything goes all over the place.
Yep.
You know? Let's see, I think I might have one more thing here.
Take your time.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take too much time either, so. And a lot of people, even Jim the other day when he was over and I was talking to him, he said, you know, nobody would like to have that next to their house. And even Jim did say that. Now, maybe he won't agree with me, but he did say that. And the more people have said, well, I know Frasato, and he's like, I don't want to mess with him and stuff like this. I wouldn't want that next to my house, you know? Let's see, the other thing, but the big concern is he has never been, I don't want to repeat again, but the commercial property tax, that's the biggest
Okay.
thing. But it's been it's living hell next to Mr. Frasato for all
Sure.
these years. And at one time we were friends. He helped me a lot with my property. I helped him. But since we have not been friends, it's just been a living hell. It's torment to my wife and myself. And
Okay.
so having a junkyard there, I mean, God knows what else he could get into, because he doesn't respect the environment,
Yep.
you know? I think that's about it. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
that's it.
And you'll be able to come back up too. if
Yeah, thanks.
necessary.
Thank you.
I should have done this.
I have a question.
Okay.
Sure.
You mentioned your concerns about conservation.
Yes.
Have you ever filed a complaint or a request for the Conservation Commission to come and look at the property?
Well, what I usually do is I call the town, and then I get kind of bounced around, Like I complain about certain things, but I've never brought conservation into it because I don't think he's in a conservation district. I don't think so, anyway. I mean, I am, I'm next to it. All of my property, not all of it, but a lot of it is in conservation. But that's the only people I haven't talked to. I mean, I've talked to the building inspectors, I've talked to the fire chief, I've talked to the health inspector, but nothing ever seemed to get done.
Thank you.
Nicole, do you have any questions yet?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sure. Okay, I was gonna bring them up again in a little while, but that's fine.
Regards to the junkyard bylaw. Prior to the last 6 months, the junkyard bylaw was not enforceable simply because the prior Board of Selectmen had not established a policy. So it was impossible for Mr. Aguirre to enforce a policy that didn't exist. Mr. Aguirre has submitted a letter to the Board of Selectmen in regards to Mr. Frasado's request. Pursuant to Article 5 of the Town of Dayton General Bylaws, junk dealers and secondhand dealers, the scrap business located at 180 Cobb's Lane, operated by Mr. Frasado, was recently inspected by the building and fire departments. Chief McGee, Commissioner Aguirre. No violations for each respective code were noted. Additionally, no building or fire hazards existed at the time of the inspection. In speaking to the Dayton Police Department, they responded to my request that they have not issued any citations to Mr. Frasado's business. I have also not heard of any complaints or findings, adverse findings against Mr. Frasado by the Dayton Conservation Commission. I respect your concerns, and I believe we will talk about a possible solution to those concerns this evening. But based on the findings of Mr. Aguirre, Chief McGee, Chief Cronin, they have no real issues with Mr. Frasado. Thank you.
If I may say something about that.
Sure.
Mr. Frasado's been very slick. You know, he knows what people are going to come and inspect. I mean, he can cover up things, but I think if we get that 21E, that boring test, environmental boring, we could find out that is definite pollution there.
Okay,
And that's my big concern. I always had that.
absolutely.
Because my property's been devalued because of that mess. I mean, just recently he's cleaned it up. And he doesn't keep all that metal inside. He cuts everything up outside, the oil tanks and everything, because I've seen him. I have a ladder, I can look right in there, see what he's doing.
This is a hearing for whether or not he is granted his license.
Right. Well, I'm just saying a reason for it not to have it
Right,
is the
I
way he does
understand.
things.
Is there any possibility that you see as a way of working together?
No,
Okay,
no, because I've been living with hell for over 30 years.
sure.
It's constant. 7 days a week, early. Doesn't start at 9 in the morning, starts at 6.
Okay,
Or whenever he feels like it, or Sundays, or holidays, or Christmas, or Easter, anything. It doesn't matter to him. I don't know what he needs so much money for, but good luck to him.
all right, thank you.
Okay.
I made an error. I should have called on the town officials first before I opened it up to the general public, and I'd like to do that at this time. Mr. Aguirre?
That's fine, I don't think the order matters. Good evening, Dayton, good evening, everyone. So I'm gonna speak based on the profession and what we're responsible for. I know there's a lot of emotion around this application, but I need to be removed from that. So the license that Mr. LePage is referring to is actually a DBA certificate, which is through the town clerk's office. To my understanding, Mr. Frasado has had one of those historically for many, many, many years, which says that he can operate as a business at that location. Why the assessors hasn't picked up on that, I don't know. It's a question for the assessor's office. Because the business has been in existence for so long, it has protection under Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, which says any business in existence for a prolonged period of time in this case 10 years, it can remain at the location in operation. That business can remain in operation even in the change of ownership, as long as the business does not cease operations for more than 12 months. The license that needs to be granted pursuant to Article 5 of our general bylaws would allow the selectmen to condition the operation, can also require a new hearing to be done if the property transferred ownership. So there are a lot of parameters that are available to you as the board that you can do if you consider granting this license. I can tell you, under general laws, Mr. Rosado does have protection. His business is allowed. That said, I think the neighborhood is residential. I think Mr. LePage has some valid points. So I think in order to have a somewhat harmonious relationship or operation, I think the board needs to take that into consideration. I will tell you that my dealings with Mr. Rosado through the years have been very forthright. Anytime there's been a question, he's been responsive. The fire chief and I have visited when we had concerns. Those concerns were immediately dealt with. So I'm not dealing with a business owner who has a disregard for public officials.
Okay. Thank you. Nicole, do you have any concerns with Jim?
No.
I haven't.
Okay. Chief, do you have anything you want to add?
I echo Jim's sentiments.
Sure.
You hit the nail on that. There's no fire concerns there, any, I can support. There's no fire concerns. I've reached out to DFS in regards to the tank process. He's not violating any fire codes in regards to what he's doing with the oil tanks. So I don't have any concerns there. I have not witnessed any large amounts of oil on the ground. I've never witnessed any large amounts of oil being stored there. So there's really no fire, anything there. The one time that Mr. LePage spoke about him burning the wire, I went over, he immediately put it out, extinguished it, acknowledged that he was wrong, and we've never been back there since.
Right.
So
Do you need a special license to transport oil?
you need a permit if you're transporting anything greater than 100 gallons.
100 gallons, okay.
So 9 times out of 10, when they're removing a tank from a house, it's less than.
Less than 100 gallons, right.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have anything for the chief?
No, I do not.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you, chief.
I do have a question for Mr. Mullin.
Mr. Mullin? Sure.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Whether it be granting permits for establishments or businesses,
Yes.
the normal question is asked, does Mr. Fazzato have any outstanding fees, taxes that he owes the town of Dayton?
He does not, no.
Could we ask the assessor's office? Because that's, no
Yes.
permits are granted in the town of Dayton if person owes fees.
Yes.
We've had building permits held up.
Yep.
We've had approval of subdivisions held up
Mm-hmm.
because of that. And so I would, as part of the permitting process, I think we should, going forward, make that standard operating procedure as one of the boxes we check.
Yes, I can just really, just really to clarify what, how the property may or may not be assessed, like as a business or not as a business. I just want to clarify that dealing with the junk dealers guidelines that we are, I can now quote, that like a junk dealer's license is required for every person who is in the practice of collecting, dealing with, or keeping a shop for the purchase, sale, resale, or barter of junk. So these licensing guidelines do have the impact of affecting both residents, and businesses as well. So the guidelines actually don't get into how a property is assessed. That they really deal with anyone, whether it is a resident, or it is an individual who has a DBA. So like anyone, silent of actually how that property is assessed. Those are the individuals and those are the businesses that the licensing guidelines will apply to. So I just want to clarify that.
Sure.
And have that out there as well.
The other question that I have, should we continue, if we continue this hearing, does that mean the business must cease, or it can continue until a final vote is taken? Mr. Mullen?
And I'm reading from the enforcement and the penalties that reads, quote, junk dealers licensed under the accompanying guidelines will be required to be licensed effective May 1st, 2023, with said guidelines taking effect on the same date. The Board of Selectmen, based on the recommendation of a Board of Selectmen agent and the police and fire chiefs, may allow for additional time for a licensed applicant or a holder to fully comply with the conditions. So how I would interpret that, based on the applicant having an application in, if the board wanted to continue the hearing, so or close the hearing without, so acting on the license application because there is a licensed applicant, so we have some flexibility with the May 1st, 2023 timeline, if that makes sense. Okay.
I have a question for Mr. Mullen. Mr. Mullen, correct me if I'm wrong, but the building commissioner is an agent of the Board of Selectmen, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask Mr. Aguirre a question?
Sure.
Mr. Aguirre, could you come to the podium, please? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Should this meeting be continued, would you recommend that the license continue until a final resolution of this is determined?
My recommendation to the board wouldn't necessarily be to continue the hearing. However, I would encourage the board to visit the site so that they can be acclimated with the operations. I would not just encourage that for this applicant, but any other applicant that came before you, because ultimately the board is responsible to the people of this community. So I think it would be appropriate if you were not willing to grant the license tonight, that you visit the site, see what's going on, see the operation, see the close proximity to Mr. LePage's house or other houses in the neighborhood, because then you could probably issue a license with conditions that fit the location. Because I think each license that you issue will be unique to the location that the business is located.
Right.
So if you're asking for my recommendation, that would be it.
The problem I have with that is because of the open meeting law and the need for it to be an open meeting, we would not have time to do that before May 1st.
Correct, but if I can just extrapolate upon
Yes.
your words, because the applicant applied for the license in a timely manner before the deadline, this business can stay in existence until this board makes a decision.
Thank you.
And that would be legal. It actually would be illegal for you to close the business if you did not act on this license prior to May 1st.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to be heard on this case? Hi.
Alicia Wilson, 2043 Somerset Ave. I live across the street from the Frazzados. First, I just want to say that Joe and Janice are good neighbors. They've been very helpful to me and my husband living there. My concern is having a junk dealing business in a residential neighborhood, also a residential neighborhood that has conservation land in it. They're diagonally across the way. There is a huge area of conservation land that runs out into the Taunton River. My concern would be that anything that may have been on the property or has not been remediated on the property may leach out into the conservation land. Also, if things were brought in with the junking license, not to say that Mr. Furtado would do it, but the potential could be there for it with a junking license allowing more things to be brought in, that there could be potential contamination or loud noise in a residential area. Those are my concerns with the junk license. But, you know, that being said, they are good neighbors. They have been good neighbors to us, and I think they usually hear our concerns. So I wanted that to be put on the record as well, but those are my concerns just with the license.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
Sure.
And this is just for the record. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
You are also an attorney at law.
That is correct.
So your statement that you just made is also based on your understanding of sound business law.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to come up? That's it for tonight. Mr. Furtado, do you want to come back up? Obviously, your neighbors have some concerns.
Pardon?
I said, obviously, your neighbors have some concerns, which I know is not the first time you've heard them. I think what the selectmen would like to do is pay a visit to your property. But prior to doing that, I'd like to close the public input on this, so that it's not a spectacle when we come out to look at your property. But I believe that you are entitled to some kind of building, some kind of permit to run your business. I'm just not sure with what restrictions that should be on that. Is that acceptable to you that we come out and look at it?
Come up right now.
Unless you're gonna feed us
Everybody's
dinner,
been-
I can't do that.
Excuse me, sir. Everybody's been there already.
Sure, I'm sure
But
they
if you
have.
wanna come again, every time somebody comes and inspects my place, I open up all the garage doors. I have them walk around, help yourself.
Okay,
So, call me before you come, and I'll make sure I'm home and I'll give you a tour.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Karen?
Yes, sir.
When this meeting is scheduled, and I believe it'll be through Mr. Mullen, I would ask that Commissioner Aguirre be present.
Okay. Mike, you can work on scheduling something?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'd be happy to, and we can reach out to you as well.
Yes, sir, Mr. Lepage. Sure.
Yes.
We can schedule that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Lepage, I'm sorry.
The point has always come up with every meeting and everybody I've ever dealt with Mr. Furtado. There's animosity. I have no animosity towards that man. It's vice versa.
Okay,
But, you know, I don't know what to say. I don't like a junkyard like that. I don't see why it should be in a residential neighborhood.
Right.
I don't see why I should have to suffer like that and my property be devalued. I have a large piece of property, and I respect the value of it, but the value has been decreased because of it.
sure.
And I just don't understand why it's been allowed to go on for so long, and now he wants to rewrite it in some way so it's a junkyard. It's
Right.
even worse, you know? So, that's all I want to say.
Certainly, I think there would be restrictions put on it. If
Well,
it's gonna be a
that's fine.
business, it has to be run like a legitimate business.
Right.
And I'm not sure what those restrictions would be.
Right.
Everything from hours of operation to what you can do, what you can't do.
Right.
But it's your neighborhood. I don't
Right.
live there, you do.
Right.
And the neighbors have a certain amount of rights.
Right.
But so does the applicant.
Of course.
And we have to find that somewhat perfect balance.
I understand.
So that it works out for
Yeah,
everybody.
I understand. I
And
understand.
we'll do our best.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I'd like to, anybody else have any concerns at this time? Yes, sir, you have another thing?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I proved, there was in court for about 15 years. Shepard Johnson, hazardous waste lawyer, and Don McManus, the criminal lawyer. I've had him for about 15 years. And Shepard Johnson, he proved that the whole Taunton River, all of Cobb's Lane, the whole river is polluted. It's polluted. And Mr. LePage accused me of contaminating as well. I got pictures of the high tide mark right up to his driveway from the Taunton River. There's outboard motors, batteries, all in front of my house and everything. Boats tipped over across the street, you know? But I proved it in court, it's not residential where I live. It's zoned for business.
Okay,
It's commercial property. All right, since the 1700s,
sure.
and I fought for 15 years. It cost me thousands of dollars, and I beat it in court. He is upset because he lost,
Okay,
and he done a lot of damage to my property. $3,000 damage on the fence, cutting down my trees.
all right. I don't want to go back and forth with comments like that. We understand there's concerns on both sides.
Yeah.
And we're going to do our due diligence before we come out to your property.
Yes.
And we just want to make sure we're fair and that there's the best of an understanding that we can do. I understand your grandfathered in to a certain extent, but it also doesn't give you the right to do whatever you'd like to do. But with that,
I wish you would come tomorrow.
whatever works out for the board, I will be there.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, sir.
One more statement.
Yeah?
Who would be in charge of enforcing when you have conditions, and how would you abide by those? I mean, how would you keep track?
It would be the building inspector, building official that has
Commissioner.
those, building commissioner that has those responsibilities.
There would be periodic inspections that would be required in order to keep the license in effect.
Would Mr. Frasato be notified of those inspections coming, or would it be random?
I think they would be random.
Yes, yes.
It's no different than the Board of Health coming into a restaurant. You wouldn't give them 24 hours' notice to clean up everything. You'd want to see it in operation. Okay. No further questions from anybody, concerns? We're going to make a motion to close the public input on this.
I will make a motion to close the public input on the hearing for the junk dealer's license of Joseph Frasato.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Peter Karen is an aye. Folks, thank you. I know it gets a little tedious sometimes, but we'll do our best to try to straighten the situation out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to the Chief McGee, the review, discuss, and act the contract of employment.
Yes, so, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the last few meetings, in executive session, we have been negotiating, a successor contract with the fire chief, to his employment contract that runs, through the end of the year. One of the things that, has been important, to the board and the town in this, is having the chief's successor contract model, the framework of the other non-union employment agreements that the board has approved. We have, as you know, over the last few months, worked with the fire chief to negotiate some current provisions out of his new contract, and the chief has worked with us and has agreed to do that. So we do have an updated proposed contract with the fire chief that I just want to spell out generally the terms just for everyone's edification. If you can bear with me one moment.
Sure.
The contract, the proposed contract before you tonight would be a three-year contract running from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2026. For fiscal year 2024, the fire chief would receive an annual base salary of $127,499. In FY25, the fire chief would receive an annual base salary of $131,324, and in the following fiscal year, the fire chief would receive an annual base salary of $135,264. Like those that salary does follow the model, of where like a lot of other Bristol County communities are at. In terms of the salary structure for their fire chiefs, and I think just my professional opinion, we have a chief who is very good, who's very professional, who has the respect of the men and women of the department. And also of the whole town. And I'm happy that we have been able to get to this proposed agreement. So,
Yeah, I'm certainly happy that we got to this agreement too. Thank you. And I'd just like to say thank you for the efforts that you put in with the situation a couple of weeks ago on Maple Street. It, from what I've heard so far, is nothing but accolades for the town and what you and the chief of police did. So thank you for, yes. So take a vote to approve his contract. Is there a motion?
I would like to make a motion to
Yep.
approve the 3-year contract of Chief Christopher McGee for the years beginning 2023 through the year 2026. The salary as stated this evening.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
And Peter Karen is an aye. Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Next on our list is announcements. Nicole, you gonna read them, or would you
Yes,
like me to read them?
I can read them.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
On Saturday, May 6, 2023, the Dayton Fire Association will hold their 4th annual Touch a Truck event on the Manheim, New England location at 123 William Street. This event is free to the public. This event is also a no siren event. On same day, it looks like, you can go from one event to the other. On Saturday, May 6, 2023, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., 13th Continental Regiment will set up a full camp with tents and items used during colonial times. This is also a free event to take place at the Wilson Davis Museum, 1217 William Street. The Town of Dayton Food Bank will be held next on May 18th, 2023, located at the Town Hall, 979 Somerset Avenue, the lower level.
Very nice, thank you. At this time, is there any public input regarding anything else for us? Nobody?
Yes, I'd like to make an input.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Chairman, and this has to do with your hearing you had on the junkyard.
Yeah.
And you might remember, this came before the zoning board of appeals,
Correct.
and I guess it was decided that it was the business area. And I just want to put that input in. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
It's Joe Pacheco from Center Street. Okay. Any other public input at this time? Yes, sir.
So, as you know, May 6th is a busy day.
Yes.
Lions Club's also having
Yeah.
a sale down the
Right.
Prairie Grass, too.
And I believe a young man is going to Eagle Scouts, too.
Yes.
Do a lot of things. But we have the Heritage Festival coming up. And it's usually this time of year, we seek judges.
I don't mind.
I'll be around as well.
Yes.
So whatever you need.
So if you can plan that, that's for the Saturday, you need to be here before 2.
Yep.
Kicks off at 2 for the
On the-
actual contest.
The-
Okay.
On the Saturday?
On the first Saturday after Memorial Day, yes.
Okay, I'll bring the stakes.
Okay.
I set them up from last year, so you can just use the stakes with the numbers.
Sure.
Okay?
I don't believe there's coaching allowed, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Bring your boots.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, it's very nice of you to bring that up.
Thank you.
And when is your contract up? Since there's no other public input, I take it, Then we'll go right on to the town administrator's report, please.
Yes, thank you. I just have one quick update. We've been very busy with the budget, with the proposed warrant, and so that has really been dominating a lot of our efforts and time. But I just, to that end, Mr. Chairman, I just want to mention there's been one small change to the FinCom and joint meeting schedule over the next week and a half. The FinCom was originally supposed to meet tomorrow night. That FinCom meeting, originally scheduled for tomorrow night, has now been scheduled to Tuesday evening. On this coming Tuesday evening, I believe, the 2nd of May, the FinCom will be meeting alone, and then we'll be reconvening on Thursday the 4th with them, in hopes of trying to finalize the warrant and all the recommendations. And so, I just want to mention that update. We are planning for the annual town meeting on June 5th. Hopefully, by the end of next week, we'll have finalized town meeting warrant recommendations to help us wrap up a lot of our budget process as we move forward to the June 5th annual town meeting. So I just wanted to have that out there. And other than that, I have nothing else this evening. So
Okay, great.
thank you.
Thank you. Since you mentioned the town meeting,
Yes.
Mr. Ferry, when is that we're gonna change the marquee from warning about the ticks in the area to the town meeting?
We can do that anytime.
Okay.
It's probably a little too early for the town meeting.
It's still too early, but it's a big meeting coming up, especially with the library, and I'm just wondering if there's a target date to get that out there.
We could shut them off a while. I wouldn't advertise it much more than 2 weeks ahead of time.
2 weeks ahead of time, okay.
Even that's, but
That's-
they become.
People come blind to it.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, thank you. And next on the agenda is selectmen's reports.
I
Hall?
actually have three.
Yep.
First up is the Dayton Water District. Their annual election will be held Monday, May 15th, at the William Street facility, 192 William Street. The polls will be open from noon until 7 p.m. Applications have been turned into the office. The deadline has closed, and there are 2 candidates for that position. Mr. Quinn is running for re-election, and he is being opposed by former Water Commissioner Jeffrey Clooney. On May 25th, the Water District will be holding their annual meeting at the Dayton Middle School, and that meeting will be beginning at 6 p.m. Currently, there are negotiations going on between Norton Construction and the Water District over providing a skim coat on Main Street because of the many, many complaints of the difficult road conditions. And also based upon the recommendation of engineer Woodward and Curran, the 12-inch main being reconstructed on Main Street will go under the culvert at Mains 1 and 2 and over the culvert in the Main 3 as it currently is structured. Next was the Dayton Industrial Commission. They met on Monday, April 24th. They stated that their second annual Business After Hours event co-sponsored by the Taunton Area Chamber of Commerce and the Dayton Development and Industrial Commission, will be October 3rd at 4 p.m. at the Bristol County Agricultural School. Excellent, well-received event last year. We're hoping once again to have a good turnout. It's open to the public, but we're strongly encouraging businesses to come set up a booth and show what they do and meet bankers, realtors, promoters, and hopefully customers. Also, the DDIC has an opening on the commission for a representative of the farming community. And I would hope that this evening, we are going to be appointing someone as our representative to the Agricultural Commission, that we would ask them if they have a candidate who could come forward to serve. We are looking, and how that was set up was that we're looking for a representative of the farming community. Also, the DDIC will be participating in the Firecracker Festival that is scheduled for September. And its next meeting, which will be here, will be May 22nd at 6 p.m. Last evening, the Dayton-Rehoboth Regional School District had their regular scheduled meeting, and the district, the awards just keep on coming. There've been some amazing accomplishments in a very short time. The Superintendent Rooney has come on board. And this evening, last evening, there were a presentation of awards to Dayton-Rehoboth Regional High School, and their new principal, Mrs. DeCecco, is doing a wonderful job. One of the awards was to their theater teacher and producer, Mrs. LaSalle, and the Premier Theater Learning Community presented an Outstanding Achievement Award to Dayton-Rehoboth Regional High School's theater group, and that distinction goes to the top 25 theater programs in the nation. Outstanding award. Also, Mr. Harold, Superintendent Rooney, are looking to expand and improve the quality of services with the CTE program. And one of their students, Tom Deason, was the recipient of the Outstanding CTA Award by the Massachusetts Association of Vocational Administrators. And his area of expertise of study is mechanical engineering. Of a more serious note, there was quite a bit of a discussion about school choice. And it was made very clear that because of the overcrowding at the Dayton Elementary and the Dayton Middle School, the recommendation from myself was that they not participate in school choice at the Dayton Elementary and Middle. That is the view of the Dayton, many of the members of the Dayton School Committee, but they did not take a final vote on that. They did not take a vote on the high school. However, it got a favorable reading for the next meeting to take a vote for school choice for the high school. There is room at the high school for additional students from outside the district. What they couldn't agree upon is the breakdown of the number of students per class. So that will be something they will continue. And I also would like to thank Mrs. Mello, Mr. Cannon, for your support in allowing me to serve as the municipal representative for the Dayton-Rehoboth Regional School District's collective bargaining union. And this year, it will be the custodial union. So thank you.
What were the dates on the Chamber of Commerce? I'm sorry.
The chamber will be October 3rd, and it'll begin at 4 p.m.
It was a great success last year.
Yes.
Well, did you say at Bristol Aggie?
Bristol Aggie, yes. It's a cocktail reception. It's well done. Well done. Very nice event. And we usually, they will invite Representative Haddad and Senator Mark Pacheco. So, thank you.
Thank you. Nicole, do you have any updates yet?
No, but if I could be allowed real quickly to highlight, something that the police department is doing with the schools this week. It's called the RAD program. SRO Hathaway and Bennett have been at the middle school. They've had this after-school program. If anyone knows my children, they are very much critics, and they said that they loved it, so it's gotta be good, because they don't give anyone a good review. So I was really appreciated that they went out of their way and put this program together,
Cool. Very good.
and that's all I have.
And I have no updates. I was on the Outlay Committee, which met yesterday. The Solid Waste Committee has not met. I don't think we meet until
Mid-May, I believe.
Of May. And solid waste, the outlay, we just really streamlined the budget process for the request for 2024.
Yeah, in terms of ranking all the,
Ranking in order what they'd like to achieve. Okay. That's it for Selectmen's report. Next is old business. Review, discuss, and act. Reconsideration of budgets. There are 6 budgets that we have to relook at, that we made recommendations for, that we have to change. The first one being Budget 122, Board of Selectmen.
yes, so, one of the things that has evolved in the last, few weeks that we were working on for some time is that, we, over the last 2 months, rather, than paying to reimburse, for employee cell phones, it's actually cheaper for the town, if we actually issue, those employees town issued cell phones. So, we do in the line, 5340 budget, in the selectmen's budget, we are proposing a $3,755 increase there, which will bring the total funding of that line to $7,755. That increase will be offset by actually $2,160 that based on us actually taking from actually fiscal year 23 going into fiscal year 2024, we have the ability to back out 3 of those $720 cell phone reimbursements. So we do. So of that 3,755, that increase will be offset by just over $2,100. But also one of the things, this process has actually had us take a greater look, about how we issue town-owned cell phones, so and who we issue them to. Based on public records laws and other things, we have expanded who we issue town-issued cell phones to. So the difference plus the technology that we will be providing to our employees in the field who work who work on Concom issues or perk tests. We want them to have up-to-date technology in the field as well, and that $3,755 increase would fund those efforts.
Who are the 3 departments that are getting
The 3 new departments. Yeah,
the new ones?
The 3 new employees who are we're now providing town-issued phones to the library director, the health agent, again, and the conservation agent, where the health agent and the conservation agent already receive reimbursements, as does the building commissioner. And
Right. Why the library director?
we actually like in the in her contract of employment, we actually include that, we included having a town-issued phone as part of, her contract of employment.
Okay. Great, thank you. We're gonna vote on these individually or all at one time?
What I would recommend, is voting on them individually, but just vote,
The difference?
to increase the difference. In this instance, it will be $3,755.
So the bottom line is,
Will increase by $3,755.
so it'll be,
And rather than doing all the math and then having errors, if we just add in the difference, then we can go back and reconcile everything.
Right. That makes sense.
And it's just easier than trying to make sure we have the numbers right, and then if there's any discrepancy in the numbers, having to then come back and try to reconcile any of that as we go.
so what will be the additional, how much?
$3,755.
And no change?
No. Even.
Somebody wanna make that motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to amend the Board of Selectmen budget to include an increase of $3,755.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Hall?
Aye?
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen is an aye. Elections.
Yes.
162.
So, there was an original discrepancy in this budget, when, at the last meeting, that was my, it was my understanding or misunderstanding that the $2,133 that was actually reduced from that line, I actually only represented of the annual town election vote by mail cost, where in fact that $2,133 represented all the vote by mail costs, and so the $2,133 line that represents the vote by mail costs for the March 2024 primary, state primary, and also the April 2024 annual town election.
It does include both.
Yes. So if we only want to have the state primary, that the line item 5220 would need to be funded at $1,305.40.
$1,000
$305
and
and 40 cents.
40 cents.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Karen, one, my understanding is that this March 2024 primary is mandated. I understand that. But I also understand that a good percentage of it is reimbursable.
Right.
I also understand that it is possible that a request could be made to the reserve account of FinCom, and that when the money came back, it could be put back into the reserve account. Now, Mr. Mullen, if we do it the other way, and we pay for it, and that money comes back as reimbursement, it goes into free cash, correct?
We I believe we need to appropriate at that point that the miscellaneous revenue, and that would. And I do think it would be easier to fund on the front end something that we know is statutorily required, and then if we get reimbursed, then we can close that out. At the end of the year, that will be like a net offset.
But that is free cash.
Right.
You know how free cash goes.
Gets spent.
Whereas if the reserve were to pay it, please help me out here, Serena,
You go back
If-
to reserve.
money that comes back for reimbursement to the reserve goes directly back to reserve, correct?
Well, it would be deposited to the general fund. Back into the reserves.
That would need to be reappropriated back.
Yeah.
And and the reserve fund closes out to free cash as well, so,
Okay, so they both do close?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I'm not sure what everyone's pleasure is, but we have two options, I
Okay.
guess.
What would you like to see?
I'd like to. Serena, I hate to put you on the spot, but you're our money expert here.
No problem.
What is your recommendation? The
So
general or through reserve?
So I would recommend to appropriate the 130540 that, Mike has for the recommendation.
Under line item 5220?
Yes, the bulk primary 5220, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion on the floor?
I will make a motion to amend, oh, no, we're gonna have to take two motions.
Right.
I will make a motion to reconsider our vote at the previous meeting in regards to the elections budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hall?
Aye?
Mrs. Miller?
Aye.
Peter Karen said aye.
I will make a motion to amend the elections budget to include the sum of $1,305.40 to line item 5220, vote by mail.
Is there a second?
I second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hall?
Aye,
Mrs. Miller?
Aye.
Peter Karen said aye.
thank you.
Thank you. 171, Conservation Commission.
Yes, sir. You will see, the proposed changes in line item 5158. There are two proposed changes there. One, as we mentioned earlier, we reduced by the initial departmental request by the $720 for the cell phone reimbursement, and also we're proposing to rename what line item 5158 is actually for. In the new name of the line would be benefits uniform boot allowance. One of the things we're proposing to clean up, in this budget process, is we have had pretty haphazard uniform, uniform reimbursement policies for non-union employees. Where in particular, we have had inequities between what the uniform allowances are, especially for the conservation agent, the health agent, and the building commissioner. So one of the updates that we're proposing, is that we provide an across the board $300 boot allowance for each of those 3 employees. So we will finally actually be treating each of those 3 employees with more equity than we have in this instance, than we have in previous years.
I know we discussed it yesterday, but can you please explain why we're calling it boot allowance and how we came about with that figure?
Yes, so one of the things based on our discussion, like in the IRS rules, like as Chairman Karen mentioned, the IRS rules doesn't really allow to take into consideration any type of reimbursement for clothing that can be worn in our non-employment non-employment settings. So if I show up here, but with like a shirt and tie, I can wear the shirt and tie out everywhere. However, if an employee on the other hand, if an employee on the other hand needs a uniform to carry out the functions of his or her job, that would be reimbursable because that uniform would have a logo, it would have it would have other town of Dayton identifying features, which we don't actually have for the building commissioner, the health agent, and the conservation agent. On the other hand, we know and understand that in order to perform the functions of their job, they need boots. And one of those employees goes through 2 pairs of our work-related boots to carry out the function of their job every year. And the cost of 2 pairs of boots is approximately $300. So that's how we came up with that number.
Now, they're not looking for reimbursement of the commissioners who also do the visits?
The Concom has not requested that, no. One of the things that I have noticed, and as a possibility to maybe address in the future, is being a member of the Concom, is a very labor-intensive job. They are one of the few boards and commissions who don't actually receive any type of stipend. I think in the future, in future fiscal years, we may want to take a look at that.
Absolutely. I'd just like to add in regards to that commission. There are 3 members on that commission who have served 51, 50, and 48 years without a stipend. They certainly need to be commended for their service. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. Is there a motion on the floor for Conservation Commission?
Now, that would
So
be.
in that, that would be a decrease,
Right.
in funding by $820.
I will make a motion to decrease the Conservation Commission budget by $820 to reflect the change made in line item 5158, benefits uniform board allowance.
That's right, 820?
This is why it's impossible to I just wanna make sure I get the math right. Yeah, 820.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Knoll?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. Building inspection, 241.
This has, the same exact traffic, Mr. Chairman. That, God, I wish I could actually. 241, so, we would, what we would be proposing as compared to what was actually approved by the board at the last meeting, is a net $100 increase in the building inspection budget.
Sorry, it's actually 120.
I'm sorry, 120. Sorry, I apologize. $120 increase in in the building inspection budget. Thank you, Serena.
Any questions, guys? So is there a motion on the floor?
I will make a motion to increase the building inspector's budget, Department 241, by an additional $120.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Hull?
Aye?
Mrs. Knoll?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Police. This is fairly straightforward, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, when we met 2 weeks ago, only the personnel expenses subtotal, of the PD budget was actually approved, rather than the entire budget. So what the number that we're recommending for approval, is $1,946,724.68.
Could you repeat that?
Yep.
1,900,000?
$1,946,724.68.
Any questions, guys?
No?
No? Nicole?
No.
Is there a motion on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion for the police department budget to be $1,946,724.68.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Hall?
Aye?
Mrs. Knoll?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Moving on, to the fire department, in the ambulance department as well. These are budgets 220, and 231. I'm proposing that in the fire department specific budget, that, line item 5105, the salary for the chief, be increased by $2,223.76. And this is based on the contract approved by the board earlier this evening.
So that's $2,223.76?
Yes, sir.
Motion on the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to increase the fire department budget by the sum of $2,223.76.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Hall?
Aye?
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Thank you. And then the same thing with the ambulance budget. I recommend that the board consider, increasing, again, line item 5105 in the amount of $2,223.76.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to increase the ambulance service budget by the sum of $2,223.76.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hall?
Aye?
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. Thank you, guys. On to new business.
Yeah.
We review, discuss, and act open meeting law complaint from Patrick Hagan dated April 10th, 2023.
Yes, so, we do, have an open meeting law complaint from Mr. Higgins. I just want, dated April 10th, 2023, and what he has called to our attention is that that the board's meeting minutes from March 1st, 2023 were not approved within the 30-day window. We actually, in the month of March, had a total of 6 meetings. In drafting the minutes, for a total of 6 meetings combined, with everything else in 1 month was a lot. So the open meeting law, technically has been violated in this instance. We do take the open meeting law seriously, very seriously. And I would recommend that the board vote to have reviewed the open meeting law complaint. And to designate me as town administrator to respond to the open meeting law complaint on the board's behalf.
Yes,
Mr. Karen. Mr. Mullin,
Yes.
in regards to that March 1st meeting,
Yes, sir.
were there any business matters that were not concluded and left open or continued? Because under the Massachusetts open meeting law, executive session minutes do not have to be approved if there is an issue that is still pending and hasn't been resolved. So I question whether we did in fact violate the open meeting law.
The March 1st, 2023 meeting in executive session, in my opinion, in the topics in that were concluded in one night.
They were,
Yes, they were.
all right. With that being said, I will make a motion to appoint the town administrator, Michael Mullen, to represent the Board of Selectmen and answer this open meeting law complaint to the Attorney General's office.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Hall?
Aye?
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Request to appoint David Marvel to the Historical Commission. This is from Town of Dayton to the Board of Selectmen from Dayton Historical Commission dated April 12, 2023. The Dayton Historical Commission interviewed the volunteer applicant, David Marvel, on Tuesday, April 11, 2023. The commission voted to recommend to the Board of Selectmen that David Marvel be appointed to the Dayton Historical Commission. This appointment will fill one of the 2 vacancies on the commission, and it's signed by Patricia Gales.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
David Marvel be appointed.
Yep.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Mr. Marvel, please remember to see the clerk to be sworn in to make it official.
Will do, sir.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Review, discuss, act, Kristen L. Calera, Chaldea, recommendation for the conditional appointment. What is this one for?
I think this was this for dispatch? It looks like
Yes,
it's.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, yeah.
right, I'm sorry. I was wondering why I didn't have it.
Yes, I'm sorry. This is a proposed new employee in the communications dispatch department.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to appoint Kristen L. Caldera as a member of the Dayton Police and Communications Dispatch Department.
Is there a second?
Dispatchers Department.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. Thank you. Appoint Board of Selectmen member as liaison to the Agricultural Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Nicole Mello as the liaison to the Agricultural Committee.
I'll step down as chair and second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to appoint Nicole Mello as the liaison to the Commission on Disability.
Chairman will step down and second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to appoint Nicole Mello as the liaison to the Dayton Trails Committee.
I'll step down and second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Mr. Chairman, I will make the motion to appoint Nicole Mello as the Library Building Committee liaison.
Chairman will step down and second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Peter Karen is an aye.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to appoint Peter Karen as the liaison to the Capital Outlay Committee.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to appoint Peter Karen as the liaison to the 40B Committee.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Last but not
Yes.
least.
Mr. Chairman, I will make the motion to appoint Peter Karen as the liaison to the Historical Commission.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is a true, Ken Pacheco did all of these, which is absolutely amazing that he fulfilled all those obligations as well as served as a selectman. And hats off to him because it's a lot of work. Review, discuss, act, draft annual town meeting warrant, review and placing of articles.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just provide a very general summary. As I mentioned earlier, we are planning for a June 5th, 2023 annual town meeting. We do at this point have a proposed annual town meeting, warrant with 27 proposed articles on it. We do have, as we typically do, we do have a few proposed housekeeping items. In the first like in the first dozen or so articles. The proposed Article 5, that actually deals with the proposed fiscal year 2024 town operating budget that we're in the process of finalizing. Like articles, like we, the parks and the PD, they've requested a total of like four additional revolving funds. Like in articles of 7 and 8 that are included in the proposed warrant. Articles 9 through articles 9 through 11 are housekeeping articles as well. Like in particular, like Article 11 would propose to apply the annual cost of living allowance to the local property exemptions that we have here in Dayton, specifically for veterans. Like individuals who are blind and/or their surviving spouses. Like Article 12 is actually a housekeeping article that would actually close out that would actually propose to close out uncollectible accounts that we've actually carried in our tax rate recap, and where we've also taken a hit in free cash for about the past 3 fiscal years. Now, so that proposes to close that out, like in the amount of $11,609. Articles 13 and 14 articles that have been proposed by the CPC. Article 13 with the application of FY 2024 revenues. Then Article 14 would be the proposed $323,000 proposed article from the CPC that would fund library improvements at 207 Main Street. Article 15 is an additional proposed article that would fund an additional $404,000 to fund Dayton Public Library improvements at 207 Main Street. Article 16 would fund the second year lease of the fire engine that we purchased at the June 2021 annual town meeting. That debt service has a cost of $106,000. Article 17 would be funded from the ambulance fund in the amount of an additional $23,000 to be combined with the $122,000 in funding approved last year for the new ambulance. Article 18 would fund about the fourth out of 5 year lease payment on the highway department street sweeper. Proposed Article 19 would fund the Forest Hills appeal litigation, in the amount of $50,000. Article 20 would dedicate an amount of $300,000 to fund the Main Street Road reclamation, paving and sidewalk construction. Article 21 proposes to fund a $28,000 alternatives analysis alternative analysis report on the Briggs Street Bridge. Like Article 22, which would be funded out of the ambulance fund, proposes an amount of $34,000 for the purchase of a new CPR compressor. Like Article 23, proposes $100,000, but for the Dayton campus, Dayton Elementary Middle, to be expended by the school district for the purchase and installation of access controls, and related school security and public safety upgrades at the Dayton, at Dayton Elementary and Dayton Middle. Like Article 24, proposes $60,000 for cable committee technology upgrades. Like Article 25 proposes very minor changes to the DR regional agreement. Like Article 26 includes a citizen petition to change the term of the town moderator from 1 year to 3 years. Like in Article 27 would help us wrap up the town meeting. So that is the 27 article proposed to town meeting warrant. It's actually it's actually less. It does have less articles than the past few annual town meetings have. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Regarding the Board of Selectmen, Article 4, I noticed the fee is $5,000. That does not reflect the town administrator's recommendation of an increase. So
just really to clarify, like in an article, the numbers in Article 4, in Article 5 so far, only include the FY23 funded figures, and based on all the recommendations so far for the FY24 budget not having actually been but wrapped up at this point. So the numbers in Article 4 right now, they actually include they only include FY23 spending levels, and they'll be updated as we finish the FY24 budget process.
So what are we voting on this evening?
The only thing the board is being asked to vote on this evening is a placing the placing of the articles on the warrant. So all the recommendations will be finished tonight, and then with the FinCom next week. But we have to decide, and the board has to decide what articles are actually going to be on the warrant. So we can continue working on our recommendations at this point.
So this is the vote to put the articles on the warrant.
Yes, and that's all it is at this point.
And I thought the CPC money wasn't an article that we could vote on because it was automatically going to be put on there.
Yes, it is, but we need to include it as an article. So in order for the CPC recommendation to go to town meeting, it does have to be included as an article. In the warrant.
In order to go to the meeting.
Oh, yeah, like in order for the recommendation to be considered, by the annual town meeting, the article has to be included in the annual town meeting warrant.
Right, but I thought in an email,
Yes.
it was gonna be automatically considered.
Yes. So yeah, like essentially based on the input and the guidance from our town council, like articles, I think, but yeah, 14 and 15, the board really doesn't have
Have a
any
say.
say over.
Right,
Oh yeah, like they're like automatically included in the warrant to go to
right,
town
that's the
meeting.
point that I was making. Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
No, that's all right. I wasn't expressing myself very clearly. Okay. Do you guys have any questions?
No, I do not.
No? Nicole, do you have any
No.
questions? Okay. Is there a motion on the floor to approve? Or not?
I would like to make a motion to approve the draft of the warrant as presented this evening.
Just a friendly amendment, like if I could recommend placing the warrant articles as presented. So just so we have the term placing of the articles as presented, that, so yeah, like essentially firms up our draft warrant, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
I will amend that to include the placing
Thank you,
of the
sir.
articles on the warrant as presented this evening.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye?
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. Review, discuss, act, conservation restriction for Maris Lane, Center Street, Woods subdivision.
Just let me pull back up my notes. So, the conservation, commission, they met last week, on this matter. The conservation restriction, on the Maris Lane development, has always been a requirement for the developer. Yeah, like in last Thursday evening, Concom voted to accept, they voted to accept the grant of the conservation restriction. So at this point, I recommend, I recommend that the selectmen concur with the Conservation Commission's acceptance of the grant of the conservation restriction contingent upon the applicant being responsible for the recording, and paying all the fees associated with the recording with the Bristol County Registry of Deeds.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the conservation restriction for Maris Lane, Center Street, Woods subdivision according to the terms and conditions stated this evening.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye?
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. Review, discuss, act, transfer attendant laborer job description.
Hey, Tom. You're still here. We do have before you for the board's consideration, an updated job description for the transfer station attendant, with the added responsibilities of, the transfer station attendant also becoming a transfer station laborer as well. And this is also based on and models, the funding proposed in the FY24 budget, to have a more all-encompassing employee, work a total of 14 hours a week, at the transfer station as an attendant and a laborer. We did work with Superintendent Ferry, to update the job description. One of the things one of the things that the job description proposes, is a change in transfer station operations on weekdays, from Wednesday to Friday. And then keeping the current Saturday hours. So hopefully as a way to attract, an applicant who will actually find the 14-hour position appealing. And I'm happy to take any questions, and I believe Highway Superintendent Ferry would be as well.
Delivery of trash bags to vendors, that's how our convenience stores get their bags, is through the attendant?
Currently, we stop what we're doing and deliver that.
And it doesn't mention about, not that it has to, I guess, the point of sale. Is it necessary?
It's in there about, the skills,
Yep. Okay.
willing to learn and involved with the needs of the computer for transactions. That's how I get that.
Will this be an increase in hours from previous?
Yes,
Yes.
So it will be an increase in hours?
Yes.
Okay.
beyond the 14 would be out of the highway budget.
I have no questions. Do you, Mr. Hall?
Well, the only question I have is, what will happen at the transfer station when he's out delivering trash bags? Is that going to be done?
After the hours of
After the
operation.
hours of operation?
Yes. But also within the 14 hours.
So if you're working 7 hours each day, that's 14 hours.
Yep.
And the transfer station's going to be open?
9 of those hours, right? It's how many hours in total?
It'd be 9 to 11 on Friday.
So the hours of operation are different than the,
And then the rest of the scheduled work on Friday would be delivering the bags.
So,
They take the delivery bags, orders, collectively, we pick up the orders, all the orders at that time, and we deliver them all at one time.
okay, I get that, but the total number of hours the transfer station was open was how many?
9.
The total number of hours the transfer station is going to be open under this current plan is
14, no, still 9.
9.
Yes.
Okay. How much will we paying the previous transfer station employee?
Previous? I'm not sure, to the dollar amount.
It wasn't $25.80 an hour. No.
We were paying him $20 an hour because that job description was only focused on that position being an attendant only and didn't actually include any laborer functions. So we're adding functions into this job description.
so, using the equipment on the premise, he's not gonna use, or she's not gonna use the backhoe or,
License
for
yes.
that, right?
Right, focus more on keeping the facility clean up, picking up litter, delivering the trash bags, and as needed, sign work outside of that.
So that's worth $5.80 more?
Yes, that and the ability for the computers,
Right.
yes. That's probably the biggest jump right there, the point of sales.
But my point is, while people are going in there for those 9 hours, it's gonna be very difficult to do both.
Yes, that's why. Yes, that is why really the labor hours will fall into. The time on Fridays especially that the transfer station is not open. so the transfer station attendant laborer, has an ability to organize, to sweep, to clean up, to do all those type of things that typically we have not been able to rely on the attendant to, so which those functions have always had to be performed by a dedicated highway department employee, so we've had to draw highway department employees from their regular functions to help out and to help fill in with the upkeep, the organization, and the in the cleanliness of the transfer station, because we've only in the past had a dedicated attendant who has really just been checking people in as they drive in.
Now, my understanding, having attended several solid waste committee meetings, that there was a request to have 2 people at the transfer station to help with the volume and also with the supervision of products coming in there, and the necessity to make sure they went into the appropriate bins. We've moved away from that. How did we deal with those problems that created the rationale of 2 employees? Now we only need 1 again, at an increase in price.
I think that was open for discussion, but one of the things that we were hoping is the POS is going to streamline the system, so we probably wouldn't need 2 people anymore. Right now, everything is obviously handwritten, and takes a lot more time than a POS system's going to take.
When
But-
is the POS system going to be implemented?
June?
So after the device comes in, we have a vendor that's willing to set up the program, so we need a few months for that. I don't know when the device will be in.
And the device has been ordered.
So as far as the volume, since our department's physically been there as the attendant for quite a while now, sporadically and then now more regular, we've noticed a change in flow. So the problem of the volume that you alluded to does not seem to be there.
But by moving to Fridays, it could lead to an increase in volume, am I correct?
Right, it will always be something to monitor. It's evolving. Just the price list change alone can change the volume. So we gotta move slowly on little steps initially. And I'd like to go back, because I'm not sure we answered your question that you started with. You're concerned about the hours. Could you maybe ask the question differently, or did we answer your question?
No, you answered my question. The total number of hours is going to be the same. Mr. Karen mentioned that the new system that's going to be implemented will answer or decrease the concern of supervision. I understand the need to keep it clean, and for the public's edification, the state is watching us. This is not just something we're doing to be neat and clean. This is something that if we don't do, we will get fined and cited by the state. So I understand the need to keep it clean. It's changed from the old days, when they used to call it a dump.
The Friday and Saturdays were changed to make it more appealing for a job to somebody, as opposed to having to break it up their week.
And someone doing a project at home, they might want the Friday, Saturday rather than that big gap in between.
Right.
Especially those people that, work and have 2 days off.
Right.
Be a great part-time job. I get it.
Well, I'm looking for part-time.
So, I'll make a motion to approve the transfer attendant laborer job description as presented.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. Review, discuss, act, facilities request for the Dayton Rehoboth softball car wash at the town garage. This is really no,
Everything's in order on this.
right. Is there a motion on the floor? We usually
Well,
waive
I
the
do have a
fee.
question.
Sure.
It says here, the garage bathroom is not available. They will need a porta potty. Would this be a condition of condition for approval?
Right, that's routine, so they will have access to the bathrooms. They usually write if there's no access to the bathrooms, they will need to get a porta potty.
But there will be access.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
If the garage bathroom is not available, you need a porta potty.
But he's saying that
They-
it will be
they will
available.
be.
Okay. Thank you. With that being said, I will make a motion to approve the facilities request of the Dayton Rehoboth Regional Softball team for their car wash at the town garage on May 13th.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Peter Karen's and I. Thank you. Review, discuss, act, request from Dayton Development and Industrial Commission to allow Pinnacle Drone Works to video town campuses and businesses for economic development outreach efforts.
One of the things that the DDIC is trying to do is to create a promotional video of the businesses in the town, as well as the beautiful Bristol County Agricultural School campus, some of the sports complexes that Dayton Rehoboth Regional High School has. And some of the waterfront, including Shaw's boat area, and what water, you know, we have the Taunton Yacht Club, we have the boat ramp. And what they're trying to do is, in creating this promotional video of the town, is to use a drone to do aerial footage. It is cheaper to do aerial footage using a drone than, I remember back in the day in Taunton, they had a person go out in an airplane and do it. And it was a lot more expensive, because not only you're paying a pilot, but you're also paying a photographer, whereas now the drone is both.
Sounds like a good idea.
Now, it's very important to understand that the businesses that are going to be, if this approves, will all have to be signing
Okay.
a waiver or permission allowing the DDIC to video their property.
They need their permission to video or to display the video?
Well, they'll need both.
They'll need, okay.
They'll need, but, you know, for the businesses, think about it. It's a huge free advertisement. Mr. Aguirre has a question.
Oh, hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm actually speaking on this personally because my attorney couldn't be here tonight. I'm serious. So your comment is well received. You need to notify the businesses. Businesses have to be aware, and they have to give your consent, because they have patrons who visit their establishments, and we need to be responsible to the patrons who visit our buildings to make sure they're aware that videoing will be taking place and they could be in a production. So I would appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I don't believe Dayton has a promotional video of its town, do they?
We do on our YouTube channel. We do have, it's probably about 4 or 5 years old now. We do have a promotional video, but one of the things that we can work on, like, is also a consent form as well. So we do have have that documentation in writing as a town.
Okay.
So yeah, we can cover ourselves from any, exposure or risk or anything else. Yeah, like, and I'd be happy to work with the DDIC on that.
Okay. I think it's a great idea. Is there a motion on the floor?
I will make a motion to approve the DDIC request to allow Pinnacle Drone Works to video town campuses and businesses for economic development outreach efforts under the terms and conditions stated this evening.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye?
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. Review, discuss, act, budget recommendations.
We're back.
Are we going to do this like we did last time collectively?
That would be ideal.
Right.
Certainly.
Is there any outstanding questions for any of them? Does anybody have?
The only question that I have regarding the Board of Health regulations, Board of Health Administration. Have they completed their contractual discussions with their employees? Or are they still any outstanding contract?
The board does, to my understanding, have an updated health agent job description that, they actually are ready to present to the board, just with the length and, like in the capacity of this agenda. There's like a lot on this agenda, so I did ask, the Board of Health if we could have it included on the May 10th, agenda rather than rather than this agenda, just because of, the gravity of what we're trying to do in this meeting as well. So yeah, but they have been working on it, and they do have something ready.
So we could table a vote on the Board of Health till the 10th, or?
We know, I think we do have an ability to vote, on the proposed operating budget with the understanding that they do have an accompanying job description that actually does back up their budget proposal.
Okay. I don't think there's a reason
Okay.
to take them out.
Okay.
Nicole, do you have any concerns about any of the others?
No.
No?
The one thing I just want to mention, just in terms of the AgCom's budget, I don't. The only recommendation that I have on that, I have on AgCom's budget at this point, is 107. Oh, I'm sorry. Is the is the $500 for the Briggs Garden has been backed up with a zero-based budget rationale.
Okay.
We don't have any zero-based budget rationale for the remaining $2,195 of the AgCom budget at this point.
You don't have a rationale for those other expenses?
No. We only do have it for the Briggs Garden at this point. So,
And no representative, no one from that group is with us this evening, correct?
no.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to table that discussion. And Mr. Mullen, could you have them come before us?
Yes. Is it okay if I invite them to next Thursday?
Sure.
As we try to wrap this
with
up.
the joint,
Yeah,
if they haven't responded by now, are they going to respond?
I hope.
Okay.
But we did hear, we did hear back from Ms. Montero, with regards to the $500 in expenses for the Briggs Garden though, and that was very much laid out.
Could we possibly ask her to come as well?
Yeah.
Just because I have questions about the garden, they're asking for funds and I'd like to ask more.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Made that a motion, I'll need a second. Did you, did Nicole second it?
Oh, I didn't hear your motion, I'm
Made a
sorry.
motion. I made a motion to table the discussion of the agricultural commission to the next meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. And then we'll take the rest of the budgets as collectively. Right, there's no reason to take.
And no,
them
and
out.
would that be, just to clarify, would that, be the town administrator's budget recommendations?
Right.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
is there a motion on the floor for that?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept the town administrator's recommendation for the budgets presented this evening. Are those numbers inclusive, or are there some out of this order? From 429 to 940?
I believe it's all inclusive, right, Serena?
They look like they're all listed.
They're all inclusive?
Yes.
So I could make a motion to accept the town administrator's recommendation for budgets from 429 through 940?
Yes.
Well,
No, you can't do that.
the first one is 422, and
Oh,
then
I'm
the
sorry.
last one is 945.
945.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To 945.
Right. Right. Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
Thank you.
Approval of the warrants. Is anybody reading?
Yes.
Do you have them?
Yep, thank you. All warrant for, I will make a motion to approve the warrants for April 2023. 42A-23, $138,813.37. 42B-23 for $201,826.86.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrants for April 27, 2023. 43A-23, $124,778.39. 43B-23, $15,656.05. 43C-23, $285,979.75. And 43D-23, $6,496.90.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. We have some correspondence. We don't usually, but we got 4 today. This is from Mr. Bill Rooney, the Superintendent of Schools, dated April 20th of 2023. Dear Dayton Board of Selectmen, I wanted to express my sincere gratitude of your what is it?
He uses big words.
Yeah,
Magnanimous.
decision to fund a school resource officer, SRO, for the elementary and middle schools in Dayton. Additionally, your continued support of an SRO at our high schools sends a strong message about your commitment to safety. As a member of the district community, I cannot stress enough how much this decision means to us. The safety and security of our children is always a top priority, and having a trained professional on campus has provided an added layer of protection and reassurance for both staff and students. Officers Bennett and Hathaway, as well as our comfort dog, Oki, are all vital members of our We Are DR community. I would also like for this letter to memorialize my appreciation to Chief Cronin and his officers in the Dayton Police Department for the commitment for keeping our community safe. The hard work and dedication of law enforcement personnel often go unrecognized. I want to acknowledge the sacrifices and plethora of changes they face on a daily basis. Your support and collaboration with the school district in implementing an SRO program is a testament to your commitment to our community's safety. Once again, thank you for investing the safety and well-being of our children and community. Your leadership and support are truly appreciated. We are grateful for your continued commitment to our town's future. Together, we are DR, signed Bill Rooney, Superintendent. And I'd also like to thank him for the professionalism they showed when we had that incident here a couple of weeks ago. They did an outstanding job of notifying the parents of the disruption to the school busing, as well as, with the road being closed, as well as rerouting everybody to get them home safe. Thank you to Mr. Rooney and his staff. The second letter is from Donna Bertos. I am writing to inform you of my resignation from the Dayton Elementary Academic Council. I was elected to the DRRHS School Committee and cannot serve both positions. Thank you, Donna Bertos. Ron Smith. Finally, I am taking this opportunity to resign my place on your commission. With Dave coming on board, I feel this is the time. Thank you for the opportunity you gave me and hope I was of some help. Regards, Ron Smith.
Did we vote on that?
Yeah, I recommend that the board accept
Oh, we didn't vote on
the
either one, I'm sorry.
resignations of both Donna Bertos
Right,
and Ron Smith.
okay. Let's take a motion for Donna Bertos, please.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Donna Bertos with thanks and appreciation from the Dayton Elementary Academic Council.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. And then now another motion for Ron Smith, please.
I will make a motion to accept the resignation of Ronald Smith with thanks and appreciation from the Historical Commission.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. This last letter is to Mark Pacheco, the Dayton Town Clerk, from the Dayton Historical Commission, dated April 12th of 2023. The Dayton Historical Commission voted to appoint Patricia Gales as the Dayton Historical Commission representative to the Community Preservation Committee at the April 11th meeting. Sincerely, Patricia Gales.
I'll make a motion to appoint Patricia Gales to the Community Preservation as the Historical Commission representative to the Community Preservation Committee.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. Last but not least, certainly, approval of the Board of Selectmen's regular meeting minutes of April 12th, 2023. Has everybody had a chance to go through them?
Yes.
Is there a motion on the floor?
I will make a motion to accept the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes of April 12, 2023.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Mr. Hull?
Aye.
Mrs. Mello?
Aye.
Peter Karen's an aye. And unfortunately, we have to go back into executive session, so everybody has to leave. Executive session, under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A3. To discuss a strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation, if an open meeting may have detrimental effects on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and the chair does declare. A clerical union, under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law of law or federal grant and aid requirements. And then we're going to do the executive minutes.
And we won't be
We
returning.
won't be returning.
So moved.
Second?
Second that.
All in favor? Aye?
Chairman Hull, I'm sorry, Hull, aye.
It's okay. Old time.
Aye.
And Peter Karen's an aye.